Hi digital marketers, this is Faisal Amin. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you Facebook conversion API with Google Analytics for e-commerce tracking for Shopify store with theme independent data layer by using of Google Tag Manager. So let's get started. You can see that I am landing on the Shopify store and I am also connected the theme independent data layer by using add custom pixel and also create Facebook web conversion tracking. You can see that page view, purchase view item, initiate checkout, and add to cart. So the all setup link in the description box. I recommended you firstly watch the all video, then come back to the server side tracking or Facebook conversion API with GA4 Ecommerce tracking. So for the server side tracking, we need the server container. That's I am already created it. And now we have to connect it our container with the step.io. You know that what is the step.io? Step.io are providing the server where you can create custom domain or first party domain by server side tracking. So I am clicking the code and find out manual provision tracking server, copy the code from here back to step.io, and that is our SDTM container. I am already created this container for server side tracking. So I am just clicking the edit and just I am paste the ID here and save. And if you scroll it, you can find out the domain name, that is the custom domain. Step.io are providing this domain, but you know that I am working on the Shopify partner store, so I have not an option to create the first party domain or custom domain, but I will give the link on the description box. From here you can check out and understand how to create custom domain or first party domain by using of step.io with your business domain. But in my case, I do not find out this option, so I'm just copy the domain name from the step.io and back to our server container. And here I am go to the admin section and try to put my first party or custom domain URL in the GTM server container. So go to container settings option, and here I have to paste my server container URL. Finally click the save. So we are create our server container for server side tracking. Now we are working on our browser container. So now our work is we are create the Google tag. So for that, create a new tag configuration, and Google Analytics, Google tag, and here we have to providing the GA4 measurement ID. So we are go to Google Analytics 4 and in the admin section and go to data stream, and then we are find out the measurement ID. So copy the ID from the Google Analytics 4 and back to our Google Tag Manager. So we are providing the tag ID, but you know that for each and every event we need to adding the Google Tag ID. So for that now we have to create the constant variable for it. So click the plus sign and also click the plus sign, variable configuration, and find out the constant variable. Here you can see that constant and paste the value, that is the measurement ID, which we are copy from the Google Analytics 4. We are giving the variable name Google measurement ID. Save it, and you can see that our tag ID are attached with our tag. So now configure settings and add parameter. We are adding some required parameter which we are sending with the each and every event. We are now creating the FBP variable. So click the plus sign, also click the plus sign, variable configuration, and that is the first party cookies. So we are adding the FBP, and here also paste the FBP, save it, and our second one is FBC. So adding the FBC and also click the plus sign to add the value. Again plus sign, variable configuration, first party cookies, adding the FBC, giving the name FBC, save it. And our third one is event time. So again we have to creating the value. So click the plus sign and also click the plus sign, variable configuration, and here we are using the custom JavaScript variable. Code in the JavaScript variable and also giving the name, that is event time, save it. And our last parameter is first party collection, that will be the true. So we are adding all of required parameters. So in the triggering section, we are adding the page view trigger. So here you can see that event page view. Our Google tag are almost set up, just to giving the tag name, that is GA4 config, that means configuration. Save it. So now time to create the page view event for server side tracking and also GA4 e-commerce. So click the new tag configuration And in the Google Analytics, we are pick the Google Analytics GA4 event because for the server side tracking, we are using the Google Analytics 4. By using Google Analytics 4, we are sending our each and every event to server side. So measurement ID, already we are creating the Google measurement ID variable. So we are just adding this variable, that is our ID. We are adding it. And in the right side, you can see the tick mark. Event name will be the page view. So we are go to our data layer and find out the page view event. Here you can see that we are find out our page view. I already told you the link will be the description box. If you watching the previous video, then you can find out each and everything and how to find out this data layer. So I am copy the page view and back to Google Tag Manager, paste it. And in the event parameter for the page view event, Facebook are not required the any parameter, but we are adding our event ID because we know that for the deduplication process, you need to adding the event ID. So we are adding the event ID and click the plus sign and also click the plus sign, variable configuration, and find out the event ID. Here you can see that as a custom template, we are find out the event ID. If you do not find out here, you can go to the discover more variable types in the community template gallery. From here, you can find out the event ID. So I am just clicking on it and adding the event ID in my variable section, just giving the variable name, that is event ID, save it. So we are adding the event ID and now set up the trigger. So we know that our trigger is already set up, that is event page view. Now giving the tag name, that is FB and GA4 page view event. Save it. So now time to set up the view item event. So again, click the new tag configuration. In the Google Analytics, we are pick the Google Analytics GA4 event, and as usual, we are adding the measurement ID which we are created before. And event name will be view item. So we are just go to the data layer and find out our event. Here you can see that view item. We are just copy the view item and paste it. And here we have to adding some required parameter. So add parameter. First one is event ID. So we are adding the event ID which we have created before. So adding it. Second one is content type. So we are adding the content type. Here we are already created this variable. And third one, content name. The all variable I am created for the Facebook web conversion tracking. So you can check out the description box how to create the variable. So content name, Facebook content name. And our second one is adding the content ID. And our next one is value. So you're adding the value. And our next one is currency. So you're adding the currency, Facebook currency. And our last one is item. So we are do not create the items variable because previously we had only create the web conversion tracking, but now we are creating the server-side tracking with GA4. So we are now create the items variable. So click the plus sign, also click the plus sign, variable configuration, and that will be the data layer variable, and variable name we are go to the our data layer. So for the view item event, we are find out the items here. So firstly copy the e-commerce, then items. So copy the e-commerce first, dot items. In the items section, you can see that we are find out our items array. In the array, we are also find out each and every details of the product. So copy the items from here and paste it. That is the DLB e-commerce items. Save it. So one by one, we are adding all of required event parameter. Now time to add the triggering. So click on it and find out the view item event. Here you can see that event view item trigger and then giving the tag name, that is FBGA4, and also SS, that will be the server side, and event name will be the view item event. Save it. So we are adding the view item event. Now go to our FB view item tag. Here we have some work. We are just adding the event ID because for the deduplication process, we need to adding the event ID. So adding it and save it. So now time to add to cart. So we are go to the shortcut process. So for that, we are open the view item event which we are created. Click the three dot, copy the view item tag and rename the tag name because now we are creating the add to cart. and we have just changed the event name because for the view item event, add to cart event, and also the begin checkout event are the same process. The event parameter are same. So again and again, we do not create each and every event. So we are just open the tag and just copy, rename it, and change the event name. So we are completely set up those tags. So we are just change the event name, that will be the add to cart. So go to our data layer and click the add to cart to find out the add to cart event. So here you can see that we are find out our add to cart event. Just copy the event name from here and back to our Google Tag Manager. So we are just change the view item event, and here also event parameter are the same as view item tag. Just to change the trigger, so click the pencil sign and adding the trigger add to cart. Here you can see that event add to cart, so add it and save it. So we are create the add to cart event. So we have also some work on the Facebook add to cart tag. Just in the settings option, we are adding our event ID, because I already told you that for the deduplication process we need to add the event ID. So we are adding it, save. So again the same process, we are just open the add to cart and click the three dot, copy it and change the tag name, that is for the begin checkout, and also change the event name. For that we are again go to our data layer, just click the checkout button to find out the checkout event. Here you can see that begin checkout event, copy the event name from here back to our Google Tag Manager and just change the event name. And in the event parameter sections, that will be the same, and just we have changed the trigger. So we are adding the begin checkout. Here we are adding the begin checkout trigger, just save it. We are go to Facebook web conversion tracking and adding the event ID. So go to more settings, and here we have to adding the event ID. Save it. Now time to create the purchase. So again we are open the begin checkout and copy the begin checkout tag. So we have changed the tag name purchase as the event name. We are adding the purchase event. So go to our data layer. So after providing the user information, just click the pay now to find out the purchase event. Here you can see that purchase event. So here copy the event name and back to our Google Tag Manager and adding the purchase. But for the event parameter section, we need to adding more parameter, because for the purchase event, you need to adding the user information. So one by one, we are adding the user information for the purchase event. So add parameter. First one is email address. So here click the plus sign, also click the plus sign, create the variable, data layer variable, and back to our data layer. And in the purchase event, we have to expanded this data layer. Here you can see that in the data layer, we have find out the customer information. So if we are expanded it, here we can find out our each and every customer information, address, city, country, email, first name, last name, and all of that. So firstly, we are copy the customer info back to our Google Tag Manager. Next, we are creating this variable for email. Here you can see the email. So copy the email from here and back to Google Tag Manager, paste the email, and that will be the email. So we are save it. And our next one is phone number. So we are adding the phone number and also create the parameter value. So click the plus sign, also plus sign, variable configuration, data layer variable, back to our data layer. So we are copy the customer info dot again and copy the phone. We are do not find out the phone in our form, so that it will shows the null. If your data layer has a phone number, then that will be the shown here. So phone, we are just adding the phone, save it. So firstly, we are adding the all parameter, then create the value. The process is the same. So after the adding the all event parameter, I will come back to you. So I am adding each and every parameter for the purchase event. You can see that address, phone number, first name, last name, country, city, postal code, transaction ID, shipping, tax, affiliation, and coupon. So now change the triggering. So click the pencil sign and adding the purchase event. Here you can see that event purchase, we are adding it and save. So we are creating each and every tag for the server side, but we have a little work on the GA4 config. So we are open the GA4 config, and here we have to adding more parameter, that is the server container URL. Here we have to adding the first party domain or custom domain URL, adding the server container URL. So go to step.io, copy the domain name from here and adding it. And our last one is send page view. That will be the false, because for the page view event we are already created tag separately. So here we are just put the false. Save it. We are done all work for the browser container. Now we go to the server container, and here we have to adding the tag, new tag configuration, put the Facebook conversion API tag template, and here we have to adding API access token. So for that we are go to event manager, that is the Facebook event manager, and in the settings section we are find out the API access token is curly, and here you can see that you have an option to generate access token. So click on it and copy the access token back to our server container, paste the API access token, and here we are adding the Facebook pixel ID. Again back to event manager, and that is our pixel ID. And also you can set dataset ID, copy the dataset ID and back to our Google Tag Manager server container, paste it. And also we are adding the test ID. So go to the test event. In the test event, we are just copy the test event code and back to our server container and paste the test ID on it. And here now we have to create the trigger. So click it, new trigger configuration. That will be the custom event and some event. Pick the event name, and that will be the mass rejects, and adding our all event which we are created, and also adding the dollar sign and adding the also the caret sign, and page view item, add to cart, check begin checkout and purchase. Now we are giving the trigger name, that is Facebook event, save it, and also giving the tag name, that is Facebook conversion API, save it. So we are set up Facebook conversion API tag in our server container. Now time to adding the Google Analytics 4 tag. So again click the new tag configuration, Google Analytics GA4. So we are adding the measurement ID. So go to Google Analytics 4 and copy the measurement ID from here and back to our server container, paste the measurement ID, and now time to adding the trigger. So click on it, plus sign, trigger configuration, and that will be the custom some event client name equals, and here we are putting the GA4. So here we are giving the trigger name, that is GA4 client. Save it, and also giving the tag name, that is Google Analytics 4. Save the tag. We are almost done. Click the submit and publish it, and back to our browser container, also submit. And now time to testing and examine that our all event are working for browser and server both or not. So for the server side, go to preview, and you know that for the theme independent data layer browser side do not providing the preview option in Google Tag Assistant. So go to our website and just open the any product page for view item, and you can see that our view content event is working. Click that to cart, checkout, and providing the user information, and finally click the pay now button to examine the purchase event. So back to our server container tag assistant, here you can see that we are find out our each and every event, that is the view item, add to cart, begin checkout, and the purchase. And if you go to the request, here you can see that 200 incoming, get 200 and post 200. If you expanded it, we are find out each and every parameter for our server side. And back to our event manager, here you can see that our initial checkout event are deduplicate, add to cart, view content, all event are deduplicate. You can see that our all event are deduplicate nicely, but here is a problem. In the server side int initial checkout URL are do not providing the correct page path. You can see that Sandbox, and we are also see that that is the Sandbox environment, so we need to override the path and location and the host name. So how can we do that? So for that, again, we go to our browser container and go to the variable section and new variable configuration, go to variable, new variable configuration, data layer variable, and find out the page location. So where we are find out the page location, again we are go to our data layer, you go to any event and the data layer section. Here you can see that page hostname, page location, page path. So we are firstly creating the page location. So copy the page location from the data layer back Google Tag Manager, paste it, and also giving the variable name, that is page hostname. Save it. So here create the second one. Again the same process, variable configuration, data layer variable, and again back to our data layer, that is the page path. We are copy the page path from it and back to our variable section, also giving the variable name, save it. And our last one is page host name. So again go to data layer variable and back to our data layer, copy the paste host name from the data layer back to Google Tag Manager, paste it, and that variable will be the paste host name. Save it. So here again go to variable section and we are adding the page location, page path, and paste hostname in the one variable section, that is Google Tag event settings. So we are find out the Google Tag event settings. Here you can see that Google Tag event settings, add parameter. So we are adding the parameter here. So we are just adding the event parameter, paste host name, paste location, and the paste path. And we are adding the value which we are created before, that is page host name. But here is find out the two variable value, but we are creating this page host name, not the capital letter page host name. That is the default variable value. So we do not provide that. We are providing our created variable value. Then we are click the right one, that is the page host name in the small letter. And also for the page location, if you go to the page location, here you can see that we are find out our page location which we are created before, and last one is page path. So we are adding this page path because we are created this path, not created this page path. So we are click the right one. So giving the variable name, that is page data. Save it and back to our text section. We are adding the page data on the GA4 event. So firstly GA4 config and adding the page data. So go to shared event settings and here we find out that page data. So we are adding it and save. So first one we are adding it. Now go to the GA4 view item. Here you can see that find out the GA4 SS view item. Open the tag and adding the page data variable. So here we find out in the event settings variable, we are adding the page data, save it. Again, the same process for purchase. So we are open the GA4 purchase event and in the event settings variable, we are adding the page data, save it. And also begin checkout, we are adding the page data on it, save it. And our last one is add to cart, maybe. So we are adding the page data. So for adding the page data, we are find out our real page path, hostname, and page location. Do not find out the Sandbox environment. So save it. Finally, click the submit and publish. So from the server, we are again go to the preview and go to our website and open a product page for testing. Our all events are find out in our Google Analytics 4 or not. Already we are testing for Facebook Event Manager and we see that our all events are deduplicate, but we are not testing on the for the Google Analytics 4. So again, we are open the product page, click the add to cart, checkout, and giving the all user information for testing the purchase event. And finally click the pay now and our purchase event are activated. But before checking Google Analytics 4, we are go to Event Manager and go to initiate checkout server side, and here we can see that our page URL location are perfectly working. We do not see any Sandbox environment and also Sandbox locations. We find out the real page path. So our page data variable are working. If you go to the add to cart for the server tag, here we can find out our real page path and location. So you know that Google Analytics for reporting take sometimes to show the results. So I'm coming to the next day and examine that our Google Analytics 4 are receiving the all event or not. So we are providing the user information for checking the purchase event. So click the pay now and back to Google Analytics 4 debug view. Here you can see that we are find out each and every event, page view, view item, add to cart, begin checkout, and also the purchase. If I expanded the all event, suppose view item, here you can see that we are find out our all event parameter, page path, page location, host name, which we are overwriting from the sandbox. So you can see that page location, page path are perfectly working, and as well as if you go to the items and in the array, we are find out each and every details of the product. So now we are go to the begin checkout event. Also, we are find out each and every event parameter. And finally, if you go to the purchase, then here we have to find out each and every event parameter for the purchase event. Now again, we are go to our Facebook event manager. Here you can see that our all event are deduplicate, purchase, initiate checkout, add to cart, view content. So finally, we are set up Facebook conversion API with Google Analytics for e-commerce tracking by using of theme independent data layer for Shopify store by using of Google Tag Manager. So thanks for watching this video. In the next video, I'll see in the new topic. Thank you.